The Europa League could be axed and the Champions League overhauled, the UEFA president Michel Platini has revealed. The sports governing body for Europe is keen on a number of changes to the format of European competitions from 2015. Now, plans to scrap the Europa League in favour of a 64-club Champions League are reported to be on the table for discussion. Platini told French paper UE France, there is a debate to determine what form European competitions will have between 2015 and 2018. We are discussing it. We will make a decision in 2014. There is nothing decided yet. If the alterations get the nod, it would mean that 7 English clubs and 5 Scottish teams will be qualifying for European football's elite competition. Some say the Champions League is already watered down at 32 teams because with my boys Liverpool, when we won the Champions League, we ended up 5th in the league the next season. Chelsea, I think, placed 6th last year and won the Champions League. And it's like okay, the competition's already watered down enough. Now you're gonna allow double the amount of teams to get into it. And it's like, okay, and we're supposed to take you seriously. This could potentially be a way of people easily circumventing financial fair play. Because if you're letting 64, because think of it, if you're letting 64 teams into a tournament, then obviously you're going to have to reduce certain financial thresholds. And then the money, the revenue coming from it is potentially going to be less for each side because there's so many sides in the competition. I mean, I don't get it. For me, the Europa League and the Champions League work as they are. For me, the Champions League, the UEFA Cup, and the European Cup Winners' Cup worked. And I never understood why they got rid of the European Cup Winners' Cup, to be frank. Never understood that. And it's like, the Champions League did used to be elite, but it's not really anymore. It's been watered down that much. And for them to want to water it down even more, it's a stupid move. All right, they are only discussing it at the moment. That's what I will say. But Gman and Gezzie, what do you reckon of this before we throw it out to the Skypers?
Well, you know what? Personally, not knowing enough about, the two, the breakaway league and the 64-man team competition, so it's a bit hard to comment on it. But just to look at the 64 team Champions League, in a way for me, it sounds sort of exciting. It's different. More teams in it from the start. I'm visualizing a knockout competition at the start, which leads into a league just like the Champions Leagues, and then ends up into another knockout competition. Yeah. So it could work, and the way they keep all teams happy is more teams are going into the Champions League. Yeah. The bigger boys basically, they're going to be bigger rewards at the end of it because there's more teams in it. And it just makes it a bit more exhilarating. However, I agree with what you said about the Europa League. It's working, but to be honest, the Europa League is some sort of secondary league. And people were saying like, oh yeah, but it's like the Cup Winners' Cup and the
UEFA Cup.
The UEFA Cup, yeah, but at the end of those championships got dissolved because they were secondary European leagues. So something always needs to be done to just refreshen up the, Europe.
Yeah, but I don't think a 64-team Champions League is the answer.
Well, it's either that or you get the breakaway elite Champions League or whatever it's going to be, and that will cause more havoc than anything else. Because you got to think about it. The Champions League at the moment runs every league around the world. No matter what you want to say, every league in Europe. Because every league in Europe fits around the Champions League.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's the basis of how the leagues work.
Yeah.
Now, if you get a new league, Champions League, what they're basically saying, they're not going to move for nobody. They're not moving dates for nobody. They're not going to make it easy for nobody. So if you got another big European competition and then you have a Europa Cup as well, now you're going to get headaches.
Yeah, but for me, it's a case of if you want to freshen up the Champions League, make it 16 teams and make it straight knockouts again.
That's not freshening up. I'm afraid it's not freshening up.
Yeah, but making it 64 is watering it down.
Technically, it's not.
It is.
Technically, it's not. It's making it bigger, better, and having more competition in it.
Yeah, but some people
see this. This is the
No,
thing,
go.
right? I have issue with this, big time, right? Because me, I'm old school. Yeah, talk to me about wrestling. Talk to me about rap music. Talk to me about music in general. Talk to me about anything. I will tell you. If you go back a few years, arguably it was better.
Oh no, not even no arguably about it.
Whereas now, yeah, it's nowhere near as good. So if you're gonna do anything with Champions League, yeah, you've literally got to go with it from the name. Yeah, it literally has to be all the champions of Europe, right? I don't really care how many leagues they can expand the amount of leagues that they can add new leagues. That's one way to go and freshen it up. Yeah, they can add more minor leagues, but literally all the champions all play each other twice. Then you can go and say something like, I don't know, top 6, not even top 6, 8 straight knockouts. Yeah, everybody else is done, and then you have literally the champions of champions done.
Yeah, well, that's what it used to be in the mid-90s.
But this is what I'm saying.
That's what it used to be. It used to be the elite.
Any sort of discussion to go and refresh and reboot the competition. How do you get better than that? Like, literally, it's the best taking on the best. None of this fluff about second place, third place, domestic cup. No. Yeah? Either you're champions or you're not getting in. Yeah? It's VIP club rules. You have to be champions to get in.
Yeah.
If you ain't got winners' medals, you're not getting in.
Because the UEFA Cup used to actually be pretty good because you were seeing teams like Barcelona in it. I mean, when we won it in 2001, mate, we had to beat Roma. We had to beat Barcelona. Big club sides at that point. Very big club sides at that point.
Yeah, but go on, Jesse.
And I'm like, if you want to go and expand anything, yeah, simplify the Champions League and expand the Europa League.
Or bring back the Cup Winners' Cup, as I've been saying for the past couple of years.
You know, that makes more sense to me. You can go and add these other teams that, you know, were challenging or won a domestic cup or whatever, or like you said, you could have the Cup Winners' Cup as well, you know, or do both to go and expand it. Because really what we're talking about is, you know, you could have, say, you know, Champions League on a Tuesday, right? Cup Winners' Cup Wednesday, Thursdays for the Europa League. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not moving anything. Timetable's still exactly the same.
Not true.
You know what? I just disagree.
Rebooted and refreshed. Yeah, literally. Champions League winners going head to head. Yeah, Cup Winners' Cup winners going head to head. So you got what? 2 domestic cups in each country, the League Cup and the Football Association Cup. Yeah. So you got 2 teams in that. So that's already bigger than the Champions League. Yeah, and then you could have second place, third place, and fourth place, unless of course they also won the domestic cup. Because they've already won the domestic cup, then they can't go in it, so it has to go to the spot below, right?
Yeah, which used to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other 3 teams now, bish bash bosh, straight into the Europa League.
But what I just want to say,
and the Intertoto Cup was the back door.
What I just want to say,
the Intertoto Cup, aka the coffee mug trophy.
What I just want to say is you guys are losing the plot, yeah, because the Champions League. Wait. The Champions League. The Champions League. No. I'm saying the Champions League has evolved, yeah, and it's not the Champions League we all once loved. I agree.
Are you only saying that because Arsenal have been placing what 3rd, 4th to get in?
No.
If it was elite, they wouldn't be in.
No. I've said before.
I'm just asking the question.
I've said before, Champions League should always be the top team, but it's evolved. There's no going back. You don't go back. There's no point of going back. The only way Champions League can move forward is by growing. Just like the World Cup. You grow the World Cup. You don't shrink it. You don't make it a smaller competition with less teams in it. You make it a bigger competition, more teams, more competition.
Yeah, but you can't call it a Champions League then.
You can still call it a Champions League.
It's
what
not.
You're asking for, really and truthfully, you're asking for an elite league because you can call it Champions League. That's the name of the league.
Well, I was going to say with the name Champions League.
I was saying.
It's supposed to be elite.
Champions League. Yeah, the person that wins the league are the champions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the winners of the Champions League, the winners of their domestic league.
No, but you can have different connotations of it, and that's how it's evolved.
All right.
Now, admittedly, we ain't won it. I'm not looking for an easy route to the final, because when we did make it to the final, we weren't the champions at the end of the day. We were the runners up. But I just see it as the 64. It sounds interesting depending on how they do it.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
I just think,
Yeah.
There's two things on it before I finish. Right. The first one is it's a clear-cut money-making thing.
Of course it
to
is.
go and say, right, we're just gonna go and amalgamate the two and make a super competition. And the other thing I think is that it's Gman, is completely off his rocker. Him saying that this thing is gonna be good, doesn't help anybody, right? At least with two separate competitions.
At least with two separate competitions, Jezzy?
At least with two separate competitions, you've got two chunks of the league, i.e., the top 4, top 6 or whatever, and cup winners. They're all occupied for a decent amount of time playing somebody other than in their league. Yeah? If you go to 64 clubs and the straight knockouts, they're getting straight back into it. Like, they don't have to be bothered about it anymore. Yeah? It's not that special. Qualification isn't going to be celebrated anymore because here now it's no longer elite. They're just like, we'll let anybody in. Right? And here's the other thing. How come you got 7 English clubs and 5 Scottish clubs? How does that work?
That's mad. You could never call that champions.
Honestly, right? Either you go back to the original champions format, like I've been saying, not, off my rocker or crazy like the G-Man saying, actually quite sensible, or you go and say straight up, right? We're going to expand the tournament. Every country that's involved, has the same amount of teams. Straight up, right? Because just in England and Scotland alone, right, there's bias to English clubs. Why? And I know you're going to say it's a financial thing, and obviously the English clubs are going to bring in money because they're Premier League, the rest of it, but that's not really what the competition's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the best of the best.
True.
If you're not dealing with that, what are you dealing with?